Professor Zhang, this is a prediction he made in 2024.
This weekend, while you were tripping balls worrying about World War III.
Hey, Segovia, back with another one. Make sure you guys watch from start to finish. As you guys know, that really helps the channel grow. But with that being said, let's do what we came here for. Let's get into it. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
This weekend, while you were tripping balls worrying about World War III, all of this stuff has been designed to distract us from the scariest thing I think I've ever seen on the news. NASA discovered spider webs on Mars. Miles-long spider webs. Elon Musk wants to go to Mars. I think it's time for us to all stop fighting each other and focus our weapons on Mars. Giant Martian spiders.
The US-Iran war is widening fast. What started as a conflict between 3 countries has now dragged a staggering 13 into the fallout. And today marked a major escalation because Iran struck UK military bases in Cyprus, meaning for the first time this war has now officially touched European territory. Now in response, the UK has authorized the United States to use its military bases to help destroy Iran's missile systems, and a member of the European Parliament for Cyprus is already calling for action.
Cyprus is an EU territory, and one attack on a member state should be considered as an attack to the entire European Union. We want and we expect a united response from the entire European Union.
And that wasn't the only development today. Lebanon has now been dragged into this conflict as well after Hezbollah launched strikes on Israel in solidarity with Iran. Meanwhile, Qatar and Saudi Arabia were pulled in a pretty major way after a number of their energy facilities were hit. Qatar, which supplies around 20% of the world's liquefied natural gas, they were forced to suspend their operations. And the same goes for Saudi. Their largest oil refinery had to temporarily halt production after a large fire broke out. And then there's NATO. We got their comments for the first time after their Secretary General called Iran a threat to Europe, Israel, and the wider region, saying Europe is really stepping up after this weekend's operations. But when asked if NATO forces would get involved in this situation, he made it pretty clear. He said this is being led by the United States and Israel. So for now, NATO is staying out of it. But of course, as the situation develops, I'll keep you guys updated.
Austin, extreme alert. Tampa, Florida, critical priority. This is the map that has been circulating around social media, giving us updated information as of March 2026. Sleeper cells in America, locations of concern based on 2024-2026 indictments, FBI, JTTF investigations, and DHS Homeland Threat assessments. You can see here in red the ones that are saying to be on the lookout right now. You also have on the East Coast, Miami and Tampa, Florida, Washington, D.C., North Virginia, Newark, Patterson, Boston, New York City, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Chicago, Minneapolis, on the West Coast, San Jose, Silicon Valley, Los Angeles, Irvine, San Diego. These are the ones that are of major concern right now. Threat summary for the region as of March 2026. Florida areas, Southwest, West Coast, Northeast. Note, sleeper may also include some cyber operatives as well. Criminal proxies and unregistered agents in those cities. Now, these are not all the cities. These are just the ones that are high priority at this time, as the FBI is saying to be on high alert. But I've shared with you the entire list in previous live streams, and it's pretty extensive. We're hearing that there are sleeper cells all across the United States, and they're saying right now, as of March 2nd, 2026, to be on high alert.
Who was the first president in U.S. history to not swear in with their hand on the Bible? Trump. Donald Trump.
Really?
First president in U.S. history to not swear in with his hand on the Bible. Why don't you see Christians call this out? Why is he afraid of the Bible? Why is he able to sign it and hand it to Nicki Minaj, but he can't put his hand on it when he swears in? Oh, then maybe we find out later on when Mark Levin puts his arm around him, says, this is the first Jewish president. He goes, it's true, I'm the first Jewish president.
No, not only that, dude, but his daughter. He gave away his own daughter.
He sold him to Israel.
If you really believe Jesus was the way, you would never let your daughter go and, like...
Ivanka Trump became Jewish.
Wait, it's not about their nukes?
No.
Iran's central bank counts because their oil and energy is very important, including for China. Larry Fink and BlackRock have said,
we need to move very rapidly. All investments on a tokenized platform.
What it means is this is going to be,
we have one common blockchain.
Potentially $100, $200, $300 trillion market.
This confirms what was said on this viral post from this anonymous user, who even predicted the exact date that the war would start. He said the main reason for this war is to get resources that could be tokenized through BlackRock. And he said the token at the center of it all would be called the Western Asset Reserve, aka ticker WAR. So it's very clear that our only chance of benefiting from this situation and getting rich is by following the elites and buying the token before it gets announced. And March 11th is a BlackRock event in Washington, D.C., and all signs are pointing to it happening on that date. The last time a token similar to this one was announced, it made 525 people millionaires overnight, and that was Trump. Do what you want with this info, but if you want to research this token yourself, just comment war down below, and I'll send you the contract address so you can avoid fakes. Remember, this is not financial advice, do your own research, and this is just an opinion.
Something just happened in Washington that should probably scare the hell out of all of us. Several U.S. senators walked out of a classified briefing about Iran, and what they said publicly afterwards, well, should probably say a lot of what's going on behind the scenes. So today, members of Congress got a closed-door intelligence briefing about the war in Iran. No cameras, no press, just classified military information. And when they walked out, they looked rattled. Senator Elizabeth Warren told reporters straight up, "It is so much worse than what you thought. You are right to be worried." Those are her words. Think about that for a second, because that's not just someone online speculating. That's a United States senator who just saw classified intelligence about the war. Then you have Senator Richard Blumenthal, who walked out of the same briefing and said something even more concerning. He said he's now more worried than ever that the U.S. could put boots on the ground in Iran. And if that happens, we are no longer talking about airstrikes or naval operations. This, my friends, this is a full-scale Middle East war. Then Senator Ruben Gallego, who's actually a combat veteran, said the thing that probably has worried me the most. He said after the briefing, "We don't actually have a concept of victory," which I'm not surprised at, okay? Meaning there's no clear plan for how this ends. I mean, look at the administration we're talking about. There's no exit strategy, no timeline. And if that sounds familiar, well, it should, because that's exactly how Iraq and Afghanistan started. So I want to ask you something. When senators come out of a classified war briefing and say it's worse than what you think, do you think that they're actually exaggerating? Or do you think we're being told only part of the story, which I personally, I'm going to believe that we're not being told anything. All right, let me know in the comments. And also, if you know people that want to hear this breakdown, share this video, love it, like it, bookmark it. I appreciate you. Let's talk about this.
The fact that we allowed a communist power to turn into a superpower is a testament to the leaders of our country over the last 60 years since Nixon, that now a country we used to once send rice to because they didn't have enough food to feed their people is now about to surpass us in many different ways.
What is going on here? This is the Paris Fashion Week, and this looks absolutely demonic. This is some weird stuff. Again, this is some weird stuff, but maybe this is just what fashion is nowadays, huh? Right? Maybe that's all that this is. Again, maybe this is just what fashion is nowadays. Maybe I'm just out of touch with current fashion. Maybe. Or maybe there is something more going on here, hidden in plain sight. Almost like truth in plain sight. Again, you got to admit, this looks very bizarre. This looks very creepy, very strange. In my honest opinion, Paris Fashion Week is demonic. What do you all think about this? Because honestly, this is some very strange stuff. Wake up.
Showed you guys the video of what they were doing, this ritual. These are quote unquote scientists that are dressed up in robes, stabbing someone, and they never gave an answer for this. Somebody caught them, recorded this, and they're like, oh, that was a joke. No further questions, no further answers. Shut this down. Something much deeper is going on here, something much more demonic. And the reason why I find this to be fascinating is because it's everything that I have learned studying Sigmund Freud. It's all coming together. I told you Sigmund Freud was a Satanist. He created a social science. You're talking about that blending of science and religion. You think it's different. It's not. Sigmund Freud is explicit that they create this science to mask their religion. Their religion consists of ritualistic sacrifice, harming innocent children. But if you say, I'm a doctor, I'm an expert, then suddenly, okay, people go, oh, okay, it's not that. This is not some demonic faith. Essentially, what Sigmund Freud is famous for is developing a breakthrough strategy for the elites. When they want to accomplish something from a religious perspective, all they have to do is present it to the public as a scientific breakthrough.
Literally, the middle class has not gotten an ounce wealthier. $6,900 is the median in 1965, and $84,000 is the median now. The median hourly wage is $26.67. It would be $26.65. Rent used to be 34 hours of work. Now it's 64 hours of work per month. And mortgage used to be 44 hours per month. Now it's 87. Here's my big takeaway on this. When you believe that lifestyle gets better from overall economic improvement, that's a lie.
And it's not coming down. Hasn't come down. It's only going up. Only going up.
Now it's being reported that 50 Cent is working on a documentary about T.I. and Tiny, because you remember they were accused of some wild things in the past.
See, this is why, bro, I've been kind of pressing my team, because the content space is expanding, and whoever YouTube rewards interview content over an hour, right?
Yes.
Here's the thing. Look how much success 50 had with the show Power on Stars.
Good show.
He was getting a flat rate per episode. Then we seen him go get a film studio. Because I always watch the giants. Wherever the giants are starting to pivot, they got inside information. That's why I be coming to you, Biz. We got to come out with movies. We got to come out with our own docs, because that's what the giants are doing. Because people is not watching cable TV no more.
Why the fuck we're paying iCloud, Apple Music to not even own our music? They can literally cut your iCloud off right now, and all those months that you pay, all that shit can just be fuel. They can literally remove Apple Music off right now. All that music, all that money that you pay every month. You're paying for the same song 20 times over. It's over. You're never done paying, and you don't even own it. Netflix, you don't own no movies. Amazon closed her account. All that money she spent on books, gone. If your books are digital, right? They're altering the text in the books. So they can alter the cover, alter the text in the book at any time. They can alter the movie at any time.
Aiden Ross's sister has been unalived at the age of 36. But what if I told you that this is another one of their rituals by the numbers? Because in Gematria, Madeline adds up to 36 in one of the ciphers in Gematria. And she was unalived at the age of 36 back in January. And in Gematria, Aiden Ross adds up to 36 in Gematria. So I guess that is just one big coincidence, right? That she was unalived at the age of 36, and all of these things add up to 36. Madeline and Aiden Ross. And she was unalived exactly 38 weeks before Aiden's next birthday. And 38 is one of the numbers associated with unaliving. So RIP to Aiden Ross's sister, Madeline. But this was definitely another one of their rituals by the numbers. Wake up.
Professor Young, this is a prediction he made in 2024 that everybody's talking about right now. This interview got a few million views. And everyone's saying, why would he make a prediction like this? Go ahead, Rob.
So in this class, this semester, I'm making 3 big predictions, right? First is that Trump will win in November. Second is
This
that
is 2024.
United States will go to war against Iran. And the third big prediction is that the United States will lose this war, which will forever change the global order.
So what do you think about what he's saying? For him to say, why would somebody in 2024 make a prediction? Does it go back to the stockpile? Is he talking about, because his argument, I believe what he's saying is they're going to use the small little drones to destroy multi-million-dollar properties versus their drones cost them $1,000 to make. Tom, are you concerned as much as what he's saying here, the professor?
Well, I think many people made those 3 predictions.
Yeah.
And I think what you're seeing here is a multi-point effort against Iran. Also, in the midst of this, so U.S. will lose the war in Iran, who's moving an aircraft carrier to the coast this morning? France.
Yeah.
Why?
I saw that.
Because if our bases are hit and our assets are hit, regardless of who started it, we've never invoked the NATO article. We've never gone to the podium and saying, we hereby call you to support and respond according to the NATO article. And the article is one attacked, all attacked. And so Europe is the NATO players in Europe are very, very nervous right now that even though, well, sort of you and Israel started it, but they're attacking you. Ugh, gosh, don't pull us into this. So Macron, no friend to Trump's right now.
No.
An ally economically, but certainly not a buddy of Trump's.
coming.
Orders
It's coming.
France's nuclear-powered aircraft carrier to move to the Mediterranean. And so you're seeing the rest of the world here, and I think this is well orchestrated. I don't think point 3 is going to come.
I mean, it's coming, y'all. It's coming, and nobody wants this. Nobody wants this. It's just the two. The people don't want it. I'm sure the Israeli and people don't want it. I don't know how they feel towards Iran. They're a little, I don't know. But I know the American people, I'm pretty sure we don't want it. I know I don't want it. Every time I see Oompa Loompas, I think of Wee Man. Yeah, there's the red.
They just started 2 wars to bury the Epstein files. Only Arabs know exactly what's happening. February 19th, Prince Andrew arrested for Epstein connections. February 24th, Bill Gates apologizes for Epstein ties. February 26th, Hillary testifies. World Economic Forum president resigns. February 27th, Bill Clinton testifies. 7 days of the biggest scandal exposures in history. Then what happens? Same day, Pakistan attacks Afghanistan. Next day, the US strikes Iran's leadership. 2 wars in 2 days. Here's what experienced observers notice. You can't make scandals disappear, but you can bury them under bigger events. Epstein dominated every headline all week. Now everyone's watching explosions. Nobody's talking about Clinton or Gates anymore. But here's the suspicious part. The same week global conflict rises, major defense contracts start moving. This is how power protects itself. 7 people exposed in 7 days. 2 wars started in 2 days. While the public watches conflict, deals get signed. Investigations stall. Nothing happens to the elite. Most people see separate news stories. Strategic thinkers see timing. The people at the top don't panic. They redirect attention. You don't fight power by reacting emotionally. You study how it moves. Never assume scandals alone will take down the powerful. Always watch how chaos reshapes influence. If you want to learn how to read power patterns instead of headlines, comment money and I'll share more.
See, this is why I say I'm not for it. Because there's too much coincidences that all these things, the Guthries, the Minnesota, these things ran the news for a while, y'all, and those didn't work. Now they're popping off with this war. Like there's no coincidence to that. So you can miss me with all that. They're about to attack. They were, they had these nuclear bombs, nuclear facilities. This is why we did. Where are they at? Show us proof. You know what I mean? And people unfortunately are going to get sacrificed. Our loved ones, the people's loved ones are going to get, they're going to get, they're going to be offed for this. For what? What's going to come from it? People that are for this, let me know down below, because I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of comments that are saying pro-American, whatever. What's going to come from this? When this is all said and done, what's your end? Because they don't even know what the end is. They don't know they don't know what we're doing it for. They don't know when it's going to be over. They don't have an end date. They don't know. So what's going to come from this? Nothing. Another headline.
One of the holiest sites in Islam. There are people who would like to see it blown up and replaced by this third temple. And I'm not going to get into the theology of it, which is deranged and demonic, actually. But it's a fact that people want this. And that is the beginning of the end for the world as we know it. Looking for religious conflict? Killing the Ayatollah didn't get you there? Okay, blow up the mosque, and then you will be there. There are already people in Israel, at least one well-known rabbi is calling for a false flag against that mosque. Just blow it up and blame the Iranians. If it blows up, that's not a solvable problem. That's the end of everything that we know. And that could happen.
This Kanye story is great.
Kanye wanted to meet, and so we met. I was very impressed. He was a man of real faith. In fact, we're sitting there talking, turns to one of his bodyguards and says, you should put your faith in Christ. And I'm going, wow, what a brother. All of a sudden, during our conversation, he looks at my watch, and he says, hey, Cliff, that's a really nice watch you got there. I said, Kanye, I bought it for $40 at Walmart. Second time, hey, Cliff, that's a really nice watch. A third time, hey, Cliff, I really like your watch. I said, well, here, man, absolutely, if you like it, I can easily go back and get another one at Walmart.
I don't got a watch right now. Pastor gave me a Timex.
So I give him my Timex. All of a sudden, he takes off his watch.
I actually bought it that day, and I gave it away that day.
10 were made in Germany. The guy comes over from Germany and gives him this watch. And Kanye gave me his watch, and I almost dropped it. It was so heavy.
And he had no idea what that watch was.
But all of a sudden, one of his handlers drove up and said, Cliff, that watch you could good mortgage with. It's a very expensive watch. I need to take that back to Kanye. Gave it back to him, and I hope he gave it back to Kanye. I don't know if he did.
I'll tell you,
See, it's kind of like you get to a certain point like Kanye did where he's a billionaire, where people are coming and they only made 10 of these watches that are worth millions and millions, and they give it to him for free, right? And he sees this everyday person that's got, so much probably love and real love, right? Not just because he's wealthy love. And he's just got a simple $40 watch, y'all. And that watch is probably way more valuable to him than that $10 million watch to Kanye, right? Because he's just so, you know what I mean? Like, and there's things like we take for granted that we wish, like, man, I wish this was a Rolex, but, I got a nice Timex world clock on,
Saddam fact is his butlers, his tailor, all the people that touched him or touched his food were all Christians. Because like Muslims kill you, kill them, that's good for their God, that's you go to heaven. Christians, you kill you, you're bad. So wow. Christians less likely. So
he trusted them
Saddam's more. Yeah, and this is why there was Christians in Iraq, which is probably more than there is now, because ISIS didn't like them too much.
Yeah.
But Saddam used to allow all the Christians.
Yeah.
Because they were his inner circle.
Wow. Shit, I didn't know that. That's fascinating.
I had to turn a bunch of them as sources, and at first I thought, what do I got in common? How do I talk to these guys? They're Christian. Are you talking about Jesus?
Did you find that they were fairly easy to turn in that regard and you could get them to talk?
Yeah. Because think about this. They're Christians.
Yeah. So
they're not born to hate you.
Yeah.
They're born to be nice to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, the sulfuric acid is the part I was going to say.
Oh, what?
is that when he knew they were coming after him, and we haven't even gotten to Sasha Riley. We've talked about Sasha Riley, but when they knew they were going to come arrest him, he ordered 330 gallons of sulfuric acid, which is how you would dispose of babies.
Anything, really.
Anything. And then
how many gallons did he order?
330 at one point, and I believe 50 at another point.
Sulfuric acid.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there are mentions, and now Congress is actually speaking about it. They did this week. A few Republican Congress women, I believe, and Thomas Massey spoke about Zorro Ranch and how there's so many mentions of bury them in Zorro Ranch, leave them in Zorro Ranch. And now that's 7,000 acres of land that Jeffrey Epstein owns in New Mexico. And it's actively working right now.
Is it?
Now,
this might be a really ignorant question, and it probably is. Is it on native land?
No.
Okay.
No, it's considered like a little town, and they changed the street names. On Google Maps, it's like blurred out. You know, you can ask them to do that. And then again, this would be conspiracy. A couple days ago, we closed the airspace over Zorro Ranch for 10 days. Weird, right?
God.
That's where I'm like, okay.
It's enough to make your head explode.
It's enough for me to be like, I'm not going to take that as truth, but I'm building this, I'm filling my bucket with doubt that this administration was clean.
There was a time that I gave Chavez in the corner all that good shit. And then what happened is his manager was like, oh, no, it's a bad look and all that bullshit. He was like shady about it. And I don't give a fuck, to be honest, about his manager. But
What are some of the things you've seen during an exorcism?
If you've seen it on Hollywood, I've seen it. The thing that you're going to see the most of is morphing, which is basically where the person changes form or shape. Everything from just women kind of look like a man all the way down to they'll change into the shape of animals.
Like a skinwalker?
Yeah, exactly.
Have you personally seen this?
There was one case I had a long time ago where there was kind of like a snake figure. I did assist a priest in a case where anytime the priest would put his stole on the back of the person's head, the front of the person's face would just go and change into the shape of a wolf. With levitation, I just don't tolerate it.
What are you thinking when you see levitation?
I get annoyed by it, frankly.
That's it? You just get annoyed?
The case that I had, one of them was Ball. He likes levitating. So I just don't tolerate it because he's trying to distract you. Personally, I've only seen it twice. But that's only because I tend to see other things, like extreme forms of occult knowledge where people know stuff that there's no way this person could ever know this. This guy that was possessed started speaking a form of Phoenician that had been defunct for 3,500 years. This kid didn't even finish high school.
What are some of the other things that you've seen? Somebody that can turn their head 360 degrees, the spider walk.
The thing I tend to see the most is the demons manifesting in their characteristics in a full-blown manner. For example, with Beelzebub, he looks the same in every case I've ever had him in, where the jaw extends out, the eyes become bloodshot, they narrow, and the top of the head narrows. I've seen a lot of color changes. Saw a woman, she was possessed by a demon who responded to the title Vitae Raptor, which is robber of life. The first time we got him to manifest, literally her face just like caved in and she literally turned completely jet black like a corpse.
Michael Beck, NSA counterintelligence officer, he deploys overseas in a sensitive environment. While staying in his hotel, he suddenly gets hit by what we now call Havana syndrome. In his own words, he said, I was a bowl of jelly. I couldn't get moving. And the symptoms faded immediately, obviously, when he left that area, but the damage did not. Beck was diagnosed with early onset Parkinson's disease, a rare diagnosis for someone his age. Now, if it had just been him, we might end this story there, but the crazy thing is, he had a coworker. His name was Chuck Gubate. And Chuck was also an NSA officer, staying in the same hotel, deployed to the same location, and he also got hit, by this weapon. Chuck also got the early onset Parkinson's disease, and die.
Have you heard of the alien ruins in China? There's this place, Mount Baigong. This archaeologist from China went to this place in 1996. It's right next to these two lakes, and one lake is saltwater and one lake is freshwater, right next to each other. There are no signs of life at all. Sharp mountains are also lifeless, as if they have experienced a massive fire. It seems that the scenery here did not originate from Earth, but from another planet in outer space. And then he saw this mountain that was like triangular shape, and he goes to the cave entrance, which has a triangle door, and he goes in and he discovers iron pipes. They tested the metal on these pipes. 8% of the material of these pipes you cannot find on our periodic table. He says it looks like a space station. They also tested some of the pipes. They found quicklime. It is a conductor of energy. Some of these pipes were filled with it, and they would lead down to the lake. This quicklime in the pipes with the lake, it was producing energy to the pyramid.
You've probably seen clips of Les Wexner, Jeffrey Epstein's friend, allegedly, give a deposition about his connection to Epstein. I'm going to play for you one of the questions that he's asked. I'll explain how he should have answered that question from the perspective of an attorney. And then I'll go into how he actually answers the question and what's wrong with that.
How was he able to do that job, but also do work for other clients at the same time?
Now here he's being asked about how someone else, Epstein, was doing something. Now, unless he was with Epstein for 24 hours a day for the entire relevant period of time, there's only one answer to this question, and the answer is, I don't know. Now let's see how he answers the question.
I think you could supervise the work, overview it, which isn't the work that I do, and say you could do really thorough work if you were doing it 3 or 4 days a month, certainly a week or a day a month, just focusing on these things because they're accountants and tax lawyers and other people.
All right, now first of all, he doesn't even answer the question in this case. The question was, how did someone else do something? What he got into was what somebody could do in that kind of a circumstance. He didn't answer how Epstein actually did it. So he didn't answer the question. And besides not answering the question, he got into some details, not completely detailed, but some details about how it's actually done, which opens the door of how would you even know about that? Which opens the door to further probing and further questions that you probably didn't want to ask.
As an example, I did inventory furniture or valuables. And it's like, how could you have all silverware in your house and weapon? I didn't count forks and spoons, and it's like, just so people could be walking out with forks and spoons. Gee, that's a good idea. We gotta have an inventory.
All right, now, this is completely bizarre. Inventorying forks, spoons, you're gonna give your vast fortune to somebody because they have a great idea of inventorying what's in your house. Now, I don't know if that's actually a thing, but either way, it sounds bizarre. And that's further evidence why you shouldn't be over answering a question, because now you're getting into things that don't make any sense and they make you look like you're probably hiding something or lying about something. So it's better just to stick with the question. And let's see if we continue with his video and see if he actually ends up answering the question the way he's supposed to.
Then there was I hired a lady to be like the house manager who would run the U.S. Embassy in Rome, and said, yeah, I know how to do this.
Okay, now we're talking about people that the suspicion is that they're really connected to the system, right? And now he's talking about how he hired a house manager who was managing the embassy in Rome. That's who you hired to be your house manager? Further putting his foot in his mouth.
Answer the question.
That's exactly right. Listen, when you're being asked questions in a deposition or in court, your job isn't to help the other side get more information. Your job is to answer questions and only the question that's being posed. Don't over answer it. Don't give more details than are being asked. Answer it to the best of your ability and within your knowledge. If there's any context that you feel like is missing, your attorney's going to have an opportunity to go up there and ask you questions to provide that context. But until then, keep it simple. Only answer the question.
I see a lot, I watch a lot of like police interrogations, and these people give themselves up. A lot of people that get pulled over with drugs in their car, these people turn themselves in. They talk too much. You talk too much, especially if you're riding dirty or you did a crime. Even if I didn't do the crime, and let's say they come to my house and saying, hey, your neighbor got murdered, and just that talk, and even if I didn't do it, like if you're even questioning me about something to that extent and that serious, it's not like you're questioning me like, hey, your neighbor said you stole his garbage can. Okay, maybe I'll talk to you then. But your neighbor got murdered and, we're just asking some questions. I want a lawyer because this is something that is serious. even if I didn't do it, I know how you guys can twist words and whatnot and make it seem like I did do it. So even if I didn't do it, y'all, I'm lawyering up because that is something serious. And I see it all the time. I see, and they do it, and they did the damn crime, and they're still going to talk to the cops. Crazy.
Ross Coulthart's just claimed he's visited a real portal, and he says the US is using the Forest Service to conceal a location containing a portal and ancient ruins. Check this out.
But just one thing I want to throw out here, and I want to cause a bit of mischief with the US government. I've just been somewhere in the United States where I know there is another portal, and I know the United States knows about it. And I was there just the other day. And guess what? It's got a big fence around it, lots of security signs. It's supposedly US Forest Service. But you know what? It's not. And it's supposedly ancient ruins of tribal art. And you know what? It's not. What's happening is that the United States is using the US Forest Service and claims of the protection of archaeological relics to keep secret from the public a portal on US soil. There, Megan.
Now, Coulthart wasn't being very descriptive about where it was. He just said a few things which are pretty vague. I mean, it could be in Utah, it could be in California, Arizona. There's all sorts of different places that also AI is suggesting, like Bradshaw Ranch. Not entirely sure. Now, it could be anywhere. Now, is this impeccable timing with what's going on around Iran and over in the Middle East with suspected stargates and things of that nature appearing? I'm not sure. Or is this another holy grift? Because it wouldn't be the first time that Coulthart said, oh, I know where a UFO's buried, but I can't really tell you much more. Same like here. I visited a portal. Can't really tell you much more. I don't know, mate.
I was in Iraq, and I was in one of them, like, you know, Uday and Qusay, like, to people. Them guys were evil.
You went to their palace,
all
that kind of shit.
All of them. I carried their bodies off an airplane and had to guard them until they got cleaned up by the morgue and DNA tested.
Whoa.
Them fucking guys, them palaces, like they would pick up like 12-year-olds off the street. They didn't give
feed
up.
them to
The lions, we found them. So Uday had lions. The lions were like on the army side, the big army side, and they were inside this fence. And then the lions were like just lazy as didn't care about no army guys. And then one day I seen a lady and kids walk by, and they're just behind chain link. And them fucking lions went nuts, and I knew like only that. Yeah, they were evil,
I
man.
read so many horrible stories about those guys that they would find a woman who was getting married and they would burr and then feed her to their dogs.
Yeah. Or the carp outside the palaces, you know, them big lakes full of these giant carps that just fucking eat bodies like you read about. Yeah. But so I was down in one of those one night just because like I could be, and I had my flashlight. Always been fascinated by ghost hunting, by the way. So I'm down there by myself just exploring, you know what I mean? And like door slammed on me, you know what I mean? I was freaked the f*** out, and I'm the only one down there, you know what I mean? Like freaked me the f*** out, man.
Yeah.
And the energy down in those fucking like rooms or whatever I don't know the f*** you call it, like they did fucking bad shit there. It's just like, having said that, we're talking about Iraq. I brought some show and tell items. I brought something I have never fucking shown before, and I believe it's fucking evil. You want to see it?
Yeah, I do. What is it?
I got to get it out of my box.
Oh, you got a box. I'm kind of scared.
So you got a box.
What's that?
Hey, can you Google Saddam Hussein Mauser?
This is that.
Yeah. Jesus. It's the one where he shoots the Mauser in the air at fucking parade grounds. I was given that to by his tailor.
Wow.
Yeah, that one. The liner fell out. The liner's in here. Look, it's you can see what kind of hat it is. The glue fell out of the liner, but look. Whoa. I rolled up his tailor and all his butlers. Anybody who touched his ass, fed him, or touched his, I fucking rolled them motherfuckers up.
Wow.
Saddam was captured 9 days after I left. I had to leave for Christmas.
This is crazy. This was on his head. Now it's here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he didn't say, take my strong hand?
The quote, take my little hand,
is the correct quote, right? From the film.
Yes.
But everybody
Take my good hand.
thinks it's take my strong hand.
Yeah, it is take my strong hand. Take my strong hand.
No, it's take my little hand. And my mind blew today.
Really? I thought it
realising
was
that.
take my strong hand.
You take my little hand. No, get it away from me.
Wait, so you have been affected
We
by the
wrote it,
Mandela
and
effect.
yeah. But then again, people think I said, I see white people in the original Scary Movie, and I said, I see dead people.
What is the problem with the lower body of the players in the last few years? The Achilles for jumpers, that's the strongest part of your body.
It's the way they work out. Russell Westbrook never gets hurt, right? You know why? He ain't doing that safe train and band work, man. He ain't doing it that way. He play up and down. He's been running around, same speed, same athleticism, same that all these other dudes doing. It ain't the shoes. It's how these dudes training, man, and lack of. They're working on their game. Cool. What are you doing for your body? The way I play the game, right? Athletic, explosive, jump out the gym. I ain't never had a calf injury. I ain't never had a hamstring injury. Nothing. 4 years in college, 15 years in the league. You know why? Because I trained a certain way.
But you still got hurt.
I didn't have a soft tissue injury. Nick, what are you talking about? The sport that we're playing, you got to train a certain way. They're not doing that.
And you'd also previously said, too, in addition to doing all those things,
Smoking dope, eating pork, drinking liquor.
She was kind of the uptight girl in high school, always protesting everything and against everything. And then she gets like addicted to caffeine pills. Right?
Very addicted.
So it I think it triggers something.
She never showed up in the college years, but it was stated that she went to Columbia University, where she now was free of the chains of like high school, and she didn't have to be this like upstanding, like cool goody-goody. So that's where she really starts getting into the drugs, right? She wasn't able to get a job after college because she was really falling into the party scene. So that's when she goes to Vegas after they've all graduated college. And she changes her name because dad disowned her. You don't want to have the Spano legacy. And that's when she becomes the stripper in Showgirls. Then she made that appearance in Any Given Sunday.
Yeah,
she was a high-priced prostitute,
That's
right?
what I think. Yeah, I mean, for the NFL teams.
Or an escort. Yeah, she was an
she's
escort.
hanging out at the NFL bars.
And so, of course, she didn't use her real name there. Like, you're a high-priced escort. You have some dumb name that you just made up. She appeared in Cobra Kai in the last season.
Yes.
And I was like, that makes so much more sense.
And she's single. They're trying to set her up with with Ralph Macchio's old buddy.
She went so far into that world that she's almost trying to go so far back to the...
Yeah, she's like a hippie now.
Yes.
And she's single. So, she's quoting astrology and all kinds of different things that she's doing. So she's like, she's trying to find some inner peace after living wild for a while.
Yeah. It clearly said. We just showed him Rogan and no one's talking about. No one's talking about. It says he was executed. Joe Biden was executed in the files. You saw a fake Joe Biden. So if that's so that drops, right? Epstein files are in your face. They're like, they're eating babies? Whoopi Goldberg is on and Whoopi's like, I can't tell you. If you say people out of this, you can't be jumping to conclusions. I was personally there to have some candy. And I'll tell you, I'm here for people. And yes, was on the list, but hey.
I'm so
See, if they were doing all that, eating those things, ordering hydraulic acid or whatever, hydrochloric acid to do those things, if they had trapdoors to put them in, that seemed, if they executed Joe Biden, that seems like a pretty good enough reason to start a big time full scale war. Because things you don't mess with is one thing I'm learning. Like, one thing that is a very touchy subject is people's young ones. Once you start saying these people that the masses look up to, the celebrities, those people are eating and doing crazy things with, the cat's out the bag. Especially if it starts coming to these religious leaders, these popes, these big time, those things, that are bigger than presidents, right? That seems like a pretty good reason to start a big time war. because Iran is not no little, and it's like it's a good versus evil thing. And who's the evil if that's the case? The Western world? Because it seems like the other side isn't in these files. They're not. They weren't invited. Do they have their own files? I don't know.
When people leave this earth, their spirits are still with us. You know, you kind of notice people sometimes say it's a butterfly, it's a cardinal, it's a rainbow. The signs I've gotten from Trey aren't just generic, it's like very specific. About 2 weeks before he died, he dropped off this potted plant with a sweet note. So that's the last thing I got from my brother. My oldest child at the time was going into 1st grade. He's like, can I tell you about the dream I had? An evil villain named Captain Pete who was trying to take over the world, and the kids fought back and defeated the evil Captain Pete.
Holy shit.
And he didn't know that Trey had been abused by someone named Pete. That's one example. And then I took him to Paris. That exact flower that Trey had dropped off on my porch before he died was on our breakfast table. And no other tables around us have these flowers.
The Aztecs were brutal. And the Aztecs spread like a wildfire all the way down into the Maya area. Everywhere they go, they rename everybody's towns and make them pay tribute.
What are some defining qualities that explain that?
I think they were very much like, they had an attitude like Attila the Hun. They just had no problem ripping your skin off. Everybody else had become too comfortable and too civilized, and the Aztecs were just mercenary. They told everybody, you know, we can either rip your heart out or you can work for us. And if you work for us, you'll be just fine. They'd go to every town they'd go to. The first thing they do is they'd show up with a bunch of merchants. There was a merchant class who were also military. They were really the people who assessed where they were going to attack next. They'd go in with a bunch of Aztec products and say, we'd like to trade with you. But all the time they were assessing their military prowess, what products they had that they could take. And then soon after the Pochteca were there would come the military. They had this just, you know, grotesque, violent bent.
I'm not going to name the organization because I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus, but there was one specific game where it really hit me. Was I had 20 and 10 after 3 quarters. We're up about 15. And in the 4th quarter and overtime, I didn't play 1 second. And so I'm looking at the assistant coach, watching our lead go down. I have 20 and 10 after 3 quarters. Like, I'm on pace to have a real nice game. And he goes, yeah, we got the call from above. You're done for tonight. I was like, what? Like, who picked up the phone? How'd y'all get on the phone in the middle of the game? And he's like, I'm like, what happened? And but they got a look from somebody in the crowd was like, nah, like, so me and this other player, the other player who was doing he had like 25 after 3 quarters. They were both like, yo, those two, they're done. And so we ended up losing in overtime, and this was against another team that was also tied for last, and they were trying to get, you know, the best projection and the odds to get the number 1 pick.
And I took LSD before the fight. Bunch of LSD.
289?
Yeah, UFC 289 in Canada. I snuck, like incriminating myself. I snuck it over into the Canada border, and then I took some the day of, right before I left to go to the show. And we meet with the staff, and like I have these murdered out, blacked out Dior glasses, and I'm like, you know, like nobody can see my eyes, you know. Yeah. And dude, when I took it, I took it and I go, and I always pray. I put it on my tongue, and it just dissolves. And I was like, oh no! I didn't want all that. And I was only supposed to do a micro, and then I was like, oh no, oh. And I was like, all right, no, it's all right. God, we got this. And I heard, ye of little faith. And I was like, uh-oh. Oh, no. And so I go up to the mirror, I start washing my face, and I was like, no, God,
Makes
we
it
got
worse.
this. We got this. And it just felt like, I know God is always with me, but it just felt like I wasn't with God.
Mm.
And it just felt like empty.
Yeah.
And yeah, I went out, go to see the guy. Hey, Mr. Builder, as soon as you get to the venue, you've been randomly selected to be drug tested, so we're going to have you pee immediately when you get to the venue. I was like, cool. And he's like, and like, I just felt like everybody was giving me the eye. And then I lost, and everybody was just like talking shit on the internet. Fucking dumbass clown. Dude, laughing about my little brother's suicide. Oh, like, bro, like the most brutal shit
You get some mean comments, bro. Crazy.
It's crazy the way people talk to me. This is when I get sober. And so my last use was that UFC fight.
That was your last high?
UFC 289.
Holy shit.
That'll do it. That'll
June
do
10th, 2023.
Nobody can say that.
Yeah, right?
What was the main event?
Amanda Nunes.
And let's face it, shrimp, lobster, that's just bugs. Those are just big sea bugs.
Well, we found that out on Fear Factor was people that are allergic to shellfish are also allergic to roaches. And we found that out the hard way.
A lawsuit?
No. The dude was allergic to shellfish and he had to eat roaches for this thing. And, they wound up having to give him an adrenaline shot.
Oh.
He was seizing up a little bit.
What are the...
It's funny how you go out to eat and usually the most expensive things on the menu are cockroaches of the sea, shrimp, lobster. Those are usually the two most expensive things on the menu. The cockroaches of the sea.
3 things that you feel like food-wise is killing us the most.
The top 3?
Yeah.
Number 1 would be herbicides and pesticides. All right. Number 2 would be seed oils. Any seed oil.
This dude got lean.
We're talking about grape seed.
I remember when he used to first start, when I would first kind of put him on the videos, he would be kind of inflamed. It looked like puffy, and I'd be like, hey, you're talking like this, and you can just tell, right? I could tell because I am, right? But now you can tell he leaned up.
Canola oil, seed oils.
Okay.
Seed oils, they oxidize so fast, and then they have smoke points, and you bring them to the smoke point, they oxidize, they break their bonds, and they are very, very bad for the body because it causes oxidative stress, not only to the tissues inside the body, but on a molecular DNA structure too. It literally unravels your deoxyribonucleic acid, and it damages the mitochondria, which is what you will call the energy powerhouse to each cell in your body. The third one to me, especially if we're talking about who they call the Black community or what I call the melanated community, is meat consumption, whether it's grass-fed or not. All the uric acid and the metabolic waste and all the trauma that come from eating the meat, it does something to our cells that it does it like no other. Like to the Black man body, meat really destroys us compared to any other what they call race of people.
I don't like talking about different races and whatnot, but from interviews I've seen, people from that, skin tone do well with a meatless diet, right? At least from videos I've seen, like John Sally, him, I don't know. There's countless people. There's a lot. They're not coming to my head, but people saying I haven't had a piece of meat, since the 80s, since the 90s. I just eat fruits and vegetables and like whole foods like that, and I'm energized. And then you hear people like my skin tone color, and they thrive off keto, carnivore, meat only diets. Stay away from those. And it's just a different gut microbiome that we have, and I've noticed that thing. You see a lot of these Joe Rogans, all his little crew that do the carnivore and they thrive, and they bash on people that just eat fruit and veggies, and when they bring people up that just eat fruit and veggies, they're always and they show pictures of them, they're always of a white skin tone color, and they look malnourished and all that. But I see a lot of interviews of people talking like that they eat a lot of fresh fruits, fresh veggies. They don't eat meat. They don't eat this. They don't eat that. And they're thriving, y'all. They're strong. And I forgot who it was, but he was saying his son has never had a piece of meat, and he's strong, muscular, and all that. So there's something to that gut microbiome, y'all. And there's something to me, I couldn't eat like that. I have to eat kind of a meat only diet to feel my best, y'all. It's deep, right?
Have you heard the internet's favorite new conspiracy theory? That bands like Limp Bizkit, festivals like Woodstock 99 were shut down by global elites. And that's why rock died, hip-hop took over. Only problem? That's not what happened, no matter how many reposts this gets on X. Let me explain. And if you love music deep dives you're not going to find anywhere else, make sure you follow right now because we're setting the story straight on this one. The year is 1999. Limp Bizkit and Korn are on national TV every day, thanks to MTV. Not many people in 1999 are on national TV every day. Oprah is, Jay Leno, David Letterman. Just to give you a small idea of how famous these bands were. You want to know how famous? A new metal band from Jacksonville, Florida got popular enough to dethrone the Backstreet Boys from the top of the Billboard charts. Think about that. By the way, I've got an amazing trivia question about all this coming up for you at the end of the video, so watch out for that. That summer is Woodstock 99, and the whole thing ends in flames. But that doesn't hurt rock. It actually makes it bigger. Limp Bizkit's next album sells over 1 million copies in its first week. But something happens. Same month this comes out. Best-selling rock album of the 21st century. And it's just better. Rapping's better. Music's better. The singing's better. This next part is huge. 0 cusses. No parental advisory sticker. Massive at the time for CD sales. If you have a friend who grew up on this music or in this era, send them this video right now because I want to see what they think about this. Especially this next part. A year after this comes out, West Borland leaves Limp Bizkit. Head leaves Korn. Plus, hip-hop starts getting really good. Like, really good. 50 Cent comes out. Nelly hits his peak. Jay-Z goes on his Blueprint tear. Eminem becomes the millennial Elvis. And he thinks Limp Bizkit sucks. Actively beefing with the band. Letting everybody know on his Eminem show lead single Without Me that Limp Bizkit is lame. Essentially deading the face of the late 90s rock movement. Simultaneously cementing hip-hop as the torchbearer of youth culture by 2002. If you got a take on this, please drop it in the comments. I want to hear what you think. Rock band that does survive? Linkin Park. And what's their next move? Hip-hop mashup album. With who?
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z. Genres don't go away because of conspiracy theories. They're sound tires. Members leave. A new, more captivating sound comes along. One last thing. If you're out here in 2026, that the rise of hip-hop is some sort of attack on rock or a conspiracy theory, go outside, touch that grass, feel that sun, and get off the internet. You sound crazy. Now for that trivia question. While it's remembered as a hard rock festival, Woodstock 99 also hosted some major hip-hop artists. Name all of the major hip-hop artists that performed at Woodstock 99. Drop your guesses in the comments. If you dug this video, I'd love for you to drop it a like. For more music stories just like this one, follow for more.
Eminem didn't only put an end to, I'm not going to say put an end to the rock industry, but he put an end to all those boy bands, the Britney Spears, the Christina Aguileras. He kind of put an end to the NSYNCs, the Mark Wahlberg, all of them, y'all. He kind of came out and that's how he made his claim to fame, was by dissing everybody like that was in that genre.
Got this, what's called Grand Coulee over here, which is a huge canyon-like feature that was cut by meltwater. You see this kind of arcuate form here? Kind of looks like a half circle. Okay, that's terminal moraine. Now, terminal moraine, if you picture this, Joe, you've got a glacier tongue coming down, and as it's coming down, oversimplified, but it gives the idea. It's bulldozing up material. It's pulverizing the ground underneath. This moraine here is basically exactly defines the end or the edge of this glacier lobe that reached all the way back up into here over the Canadian Rockies. Well, sometime between 12, say, and 14,000 years ago, there was a series of massive meltwater pulses that discharged off the ice sheet, had peak discharges of about 300 to 400 million cubic feet per second. Now, how much is that?
11.
No. Bill Cooper did.
That was perfect, right?
I thought Alex Jones did.
Bill Cooper. I love Alex Jones. I'm a big Alex Jones fan. He's a friend of mine. I love him. But it was Bill Cooper. And then they killed him.
Remind me who Bill Cooper
Bill Cooper is like the OG conspiracy theorist. Like, he's the guy who was like Navy intelligence, and he was talking about aliens, and then he came to a realization that they were feeding him it. They wanted him to see it. They wanted him to go talk about it to everybody that there's aliens. Because what aliens do...
kind of like, okay, yeah, I know what you're saying.
Because what aliens do, dude, is it makes us powerless, right? If there's aliens coming, they're so incredibly powerful, we got to submit, and then we got to become a one world order.
Yeah.
You know, if you study, like, Bill Cooper is a G, dude.
Pull up a history on him. And he worked for Navy intelligence?
He did.
Conspiracy theorist Bill Cooper made predictions regarding the potential attack on the United States and the individual who would be blamed for it. On June 18th or 28th, 2001, he stated that a major attack would occur and that bin Laden would be implicated. Whoa. A couple months before.
And then they killed him.
Specific. How did he die?
They ambushed him in his driveway.
Who?
The FBI. He came up and talked to him. They shot him from the back.
Whoa.
Them. Whoever they are, them. That's who.
It's a dangerous game because then there wasn't the flood of conspiracies everywhere. You know, conspiracy theorists are all like they have a fantasy that they're so dangerous
Yeah.
the government's going to come after. And some of them they do, you know, but it's really, what information are you getting out?
What you said in the beginning was spot on. You said you don't think things are getting worse. You just think it's becoming more exposed because of the internet. Yeah, because like imagine if we would have had TikTok and Instagram in 62 or 63, right? When all that shit was going on. Like that, I mean, the president getting fucking his head smoked in broad daylight on TV.
100%.
Which almost happened.
The moon landing?
If that's real.
If it's real.
Bro, you haven't seen the video of some White House intern or something moving the press to the side to get a better shot as the flag comes in this fucking is lowered down so they
photographer?
Yeah. He's moving people. Dude, some guy got shot. You're moving people over. You're not like running for your life or dropping. Come on, dude. Like, here's what I've learned about these high impact events, right? We're talking JFK, 9/11. There's so many layers to it so that guy, whatever event they want to happen, happens. They don't get out.
Right.
So there's layers upon layers. And that's why everyone in the 9/11 JFK conspiracy community, they're all fighting with each other.
Yeah.
Because they think they have the one. And I'm like, it's all of it.
Right.
It's all of it.
It's a little bit of all of it.
You know? I mean, if you look at 9/11, dancing Israelis, explosions in the building.
In the basement, yeah.
Were those actually planes or were they
holograms?
Missiles? I know you're going to think I'm crazy, dude, but direct energy weapons, like how does this building just dustify? Just dustify.
That is crazy. And there's also the Operation Northwoods where the exposed CIA documents where they wanted to fly jetliners and blow them up over Cuba as a pretext.
I mean, dude, if you study Operation...
They had the roadmap to 9/11 before 9/11.
Study Operation Northwoods and tell me that's not point for point the Challenger explosion. Every single point of that is exactly what the Challenger explosion was. Okay? So
wait, how is the Challenger explosion?
Okay. So you cited okay, so what is Operation Northwood? All right. One of them is to pull Cuba into the war. They're going to create a fake musical concert and they're going to have these college students go play there. We're going to parade them around in the media, make it a big event. Everyone watches them go, get on the plane. The plane goes, they're going to lower the plane and they're going to put another plane up and blow up the plane and blame it on Cuba. Okay. Study the Challenger explosion. Oh, we got a teacher on this flight. It's the first time a teacher's going to space. Everyone's doing the media tour. Then the big day comes, all their families there. They're watching it. Everyone's cheering.
You know, the reason why Bear Grylls happened, the whole reason why that guy got a show is because they were trying to tell Les to fake things. He's like, I'm not going to do that way. So he would just go along with them. Bear Grylls just slept in a hotel. He'd pretend he'd drinking his own piss, all that stuff. I mean, Les was out there really surviving that way. When you would see, he would do like a 7-day trip and maybe he would find no food. And by the end of that 7 days, you could see how much weight he had lost.
Radiation causes birth defects at the chromosomal level. My father was a surgeon, and after they dropped the 2 bombs, the Defense Department said, hey, this guy's sharp. Let's send him to ground zero and see if we can garner any information of the effects on survivors or non-survivors. I have pictures that he took of shadows of vaporized humans that were infused into cement walls. When he came home, he was obviously radiated, and radiation causes birth defects. It affects my skin. The ends of my fingers and toes are not fully developed. They stop at the knuckles. My cranium was fused. My skull was also smaller than it should be. And I was born about 7 weeks premature. And my dad had an odd sense of humor. He would say, you were so small, when we put you in the crib, we couldn't find you. You were so small.
Not alone.
Some days I would drink from 6 a.m. to noon, and then I would go to another bar that I liked that would like open around 11 or noon, and I would drink there until 2. Then I would go pass out until 4 or 5, and then I would go back to the bar. And that's what I would always do. I would always drink through it. That was always a solution. If I had any issue, if I had the shakes, anything, drink through it. Thank fucking God I went to urgent care, walked in, I go, hey, I think I need to see a doctor. And the nurse goes, nope, you need an ambulance, like now. I was there for 3 weeks, and I literally I was going to die. I had pneumonia, I had blood sepsis, I had alcohol poisoning, I had altitude sickness. I had like 5 things. One of those things can kill you, and I had all 5. And this is another piece of advice: get assisted detox, because you're rolling the dice. If you're a serious drinker.
First of all, these drones are cheap. They're easy to make. They make about 500 a day. Okay, and estimates are about there's 80,000 right now that the Iranians have. So they can go on for a long, long time. Okay, and one of these drones, again, can knock out a desalination plant, it can knock out an oil field, it can knock out a hotel, it can do a lot of damage. Okay, and it's easily transportable. You can hide it anywhere. You can use it from anywhere. Okay, and that's what the Iranians are using as an offensive weapon. And how do the Americans defend against this? They use something called a THAAD, right? Right, guys. This is what they use.
bombs.
THAAD. THAAD stands for Thermal High Altitude Air Defense. And they also have like Patriot systems. There's a lot, okay? The thing that you need to know about the system is it's really expensive. This missile, guys, costs $1 million.
It's just a guess right there. Spot on. $1 million bomb to take out a $40,000 drone. 1 million to take out 40,000. 1 million of our dollars to mind you. That's our money. $1 million for that.
$1 million. So there's this $50,000 drone coming your way, and you throw a $1 million missile at it, okay? And often these missiles miss, so you have to throw 2 or 3 missiles at it, okay? So you're spending $2 to $3 million on each $50,000 that the Iranians spend. That's kind of silly. Second thing you'll notice is that this thing is really big and really slow. And therefore, you can't really move it around. Therefore, it's pretty easy for the Iranians to spot where this is and attack it. And when these things blow up, that's a lot of money, guys. Okay?
Look, guys, this is Dubai World. It's literally a port, a seaport. Which means if you're seeing rockets fly over your head and hitting this port, it did not come from Iran because Iran is there. We won't see any rockets flying over our head unless we're in a ship. The rockets you've seen came from the opposite direction, and everyone witnessed it. No more lies, motherfuckers.
What's this?
The guy seems a little too cool for being in a war zone, right? There's a bomb that went off. Like, imagine if that was here. Like, I don't think I'd be like that calm, cool, and collective if we're like at war and there's bombs hitting our ports and whatnot.
Biggest thing that can happen in a barbecue.
Metal wire grill brushes. If you use those to clean the grill, there's these little pieces of the brush that can break off and get into the burger or the food, whatever you're cooking. And if you swallow it, it can end up kind of anywhere from
the cheap
your
ones
lips,
too
your
for
tongue,
97 cents at Walmart.
We've had some get lodged in tonsils and in the intestines, and it can cause some pretty bad problems.
And that's probably not top of mind when people are coming in with an obscure, non-specific symptom like bellyache.
Yeah.
Oh, I vomited, etc. So how do you get there? Or is it you did some imaging and luckily you found it?
The kid had to present a couple different times. His complaint was ear pain. He was, and the family had thought he had gotten stung by a bee. And so they said he got stung by a bee.
Even more
in his,
complicated.
right. And so we kind of maybe did a little bit of anchoring initially on this like idea of he got stung by a bee in his ear. You know, we looks fine, gave him follow up, and then he presented back. We did a CAT scan of the mastoids because he's complaining of ear pain.
Of course.
No mouth or throat symptoms, and the CT of the mastoids was negative. And then came back again, and then he had started having fevers and throat pain. And so we were able to kind of localize it at that point. We did a CT with contrast of his neck. The contrast obviously wouldn't have mattered either way, but we were able to see it on the neck image. It was just lodged kind of down in the tonsil a little bit and referring the pain to the ear, which it's wild. And in the comments, everyone's like, you should have CT'd him the first time. And I was like, if you CT every kid with an ear pain.
How much oil the U.S. military consumes?
Everyone gets
per
bad
day.
comments, y'all.
It's never occurred to me.
Right.
What is the amount? How many
270,000 barrels a day.
But we're talking about just the maintenance of the arsenal. We're talking about just the maintenance of a global military empire. That's how much oil it takes to just supply and maintain. And to your point, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You need to continue to pillage and plunder every last vestige of oil
Oh my God.
and natural resources in order to justify the expanse.
I guess, except that the oil dragon is gonna fucking dragon.
Fed.
It needs to be fed. We just accept it now. Like
Yeah.
the way we used to push back, it's like we've been subdued. The American population has been subdued to the point of just accepting this is how we function as a country, or what you call an empire.
All right, family. There you have today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys made it this far, you know what to do. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Happy Friday, y'all. It's Friday. I was earlier today, and I was like, what? I'm all over the place, y'all. It's been a long 4 or 5 days. My girl's sick. Baby's, being a 1-year-old. So, I've been going through it. It's been a stressful week, but things are starting to turn around, y'all. But we got an hour and 10 minutes in here for you guys for your Friday night, y'all. Hope you guys, leave some love. Hope you made it this far, y'all. But, nothing. I'm going to try to get out and get on a hike today, see if I can sneak out and get that in. That's about it today, y'all. It's a windy day out. So, no yard work today. Waiting for this wind to clear up. But I'm going to get out of here, get this video edited out to the people. This is Segovia. I'm signing down the Man Cave. I'm going to see you guys on the next one, y'all. Later.